the Chancellor of Rhodes University, the Honorable Judge Lex Mpati, the Vice Chancellor, Professor Sizwe Mabizela, Chairperson of Council, Judge Gerald Bloom, my friend and classmate at this university, members of the University Council of Rhodes University, the executive management, deans, and academic, administrative, and support staff of the university, Prince Zolile Burns Nxamashe, the president of the SRC, Mr. Avisheni Kyala, my fellow graduates and family members, students and friends of the university, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, and I had a glimpse that I also have some of my colleagues here. My dear colleagues, I greet you all this afternoon. Let me start by thanking Rhodes University for this immeasurable honor. I am especially grateful because this recognition comes from my own university. Many thanks to you, Rhodes University, my alma mater. Let me next congratulate the graduating students. Yours has been an arduous path strewn with many a pitfall. Despite it all, here you are. Congratulations. The topic of my address is gender-based violence. Is there anything we can do? In South Africa, the slogan of the campaign against sexual violence, gender-based violence, and femicide is not #MeToo or #TimesUp, but far more chillingly, #AmINext. This slogan, while registering activists' vehement objection to the cruelty and injustice of GBV and its prevalence in South Africa, it reflects a sense of resignation to the pervasiveness of GBV in our society. This #revolution has its genesis in the horrific murder of 19-year-old Cape Town student Uyinene Mrwetyana. Her death tipped South African women over the edge and ignited a movement. Uyinene's story was powerful and uniting because no woman and no man with a heart and conscience could separate themselves from her and her pain. No one could, as is so often unjustifiably done, point fingers at her or blame her. Her experience left no space for common tropes such as she shouldn't have been out that late, or she shouldn't have been in that area, she shouldn't have been drinking or wearing that outfit. Do we ever say such things about men? Of course we don't. Uyinene's story was so relatable, so close to so many of us, not at all, quote-unquote, blameworthy. Blameworthy in quotation marks, as I say. She went to pick up a parcel from the post office on a Saturday afternoon and never came out alive. And the more we thought about it, the more shocking it became. This brings to the fore the stark reality that women in South Africa are not safe anywhere. Not at home, not at work, not in restaurants, not at schools and universities. And we now know, not even in the post office, not anywhere. It is alarming how women in South Africa truly identify with the slogan, #AmINext, because time and again, evidence has shown that no woman is immune to the dangers of GBV. Tsegofatsopule, Ntokozo Xaba, Karabo Mokoena, Zolile Khumalo, Nompumelelo Chaka, CM Lee, Jesse Hess, Megan Kramer, Uyathandwa Stirman, Lindelwa Penny, Uyinene Mokgwetyana. These are 11 women who were all brutally murdered in our country over the last 5 years in instances of gender-based violence or femicide. These women represent the tip of the iceberg, and they are part of the few whose deaths caught the public eye because they were widely publicized by the media. National tolls reveal that between April 2020 and September 2022, 988 women were killed by men in acts of domestic violence in South Africa. Yes, a very scary figure, but it says nothing about those women who are not killed or have not been killed yet, and some, if not most of whom, do not report incidents of gender-based violence. That must tell us that the true and full figures are horrifyingly high. Indeed, it is reported that compared to other countries, South Africa has extremely high levels of gender-based violence. What are the causes? That is a complex question. Time does not permit that I deal with them. Suffice it to say, not a single one of them justifies gender-based violence. How, if at all, is the judiciary to blame? We judicial officers are not free from blame. We do not always treat cases of gender-based violence the way we should. Part of the problem is that being part of the same society that breeds gender-based violence, we are not immune to the ills of patriarchy, sexism, and misogyny that are amongst the factors that are at the center of GBV. The approach of some of us to cases of GBV will be tainted by that reality. Justice Benjamin Cardozo of the United States confirms this thus: there is in each of us a stream of tendency, whether you choose to call it philosophy or not, which gives coherence and direction to thought and action. Judges cannot escape that current any more than other mortals. All their lives, forces which they do not recognize and cannot name have been tugging at them. Inherited instincts, traditional beliefs, acquired convictions, and the resultant is an outlook on life, a conception of social needs. In this mental background, every problem finds its setting, he says. Historically, a number of South African judgments on laws that were not only facially neutral in terms of gender, but were in fact gender neutral, were decided in a manner that discriminated against women. If, as I say, the laws themselves were gender neutral, these decisions could only have been informed by the outlook on life of the judges concerned. That outlook was one that saw women as undeserving of the benefits afforded by the laws in issue. Pitifully, despite the proscription of unfair discrimination against women, the experiences that, according to Justice Cardozo, inform the decision-making process of judges cannot disappear overnight. The experiences of judges, their outlook on life, are deeply ingrained. Therefore, it would be naive to think that just because we now have a constitution that has a justiciable Bill of Rights, our decision-making will no longer be influenced by those experiences. Our experiences and the attitudes they engender do not disappear the minute laws with a patriarchal, sexist, and misogynistic flavor are wiped off the legal plane. They will continue to be infused into the thought processes of some, if not most, of us. A male judge may be completely oblivious to a factor that is crucial to the resolution of a dispute before him, and which would have been quite obvious to a female judge. And as male judges numerically dominate the judiciary, the male perspective will dominate legal thought and jurisprudence. To the undiscerning eye, that perspective will especially have a veneer of neutrality, when the reality is that it represents only a partial, skewed view of reality. What can each one of us do? Let me start with us, the judiciary. As male judicial officers, it is only when we are alive to the reality that our individual outlook on life does influence our decision-making, and that ingrained in that outlook on life are patriarchy, sexism, and misogyny, that we will be better placed to commence a process of self-correction. It is only then that we will embark on a path that will eventually rid us of this negative influence. Of course, that is not enough. The end point we should all strive for is to dismantle the patriarchal values underlying our judgments. We can reach that end point if, in our judgment writing, we consciously embrace the truism that women are equal to men. What about private individuals? What can you and I do if we are aware of a woman who is a victim of GBV? Let me start with us men. I will look at something which to the undiscerning eye may look quite benign. Some men may never have lifted a hand against a woman, but that doesn't mean that does not inhere in us that streak that just may be the trigger for us to do exactly that. Take this simple example. If when you see a woman make a mistake while she is driving, your instinctive reaction is, "When's Antoni kodwa lo mfazi? What the hell is this woman doing?" That should send you alarm bells. That should tell you that you have a problem. It means before you see a woman as a human being, just like you see her as a lesser species worthy of disdain. Or, worse still, you do not see her as a human being at all. You may think I'm exaggerating. In similar situations, do you ever say, "Yenza ntoni kodwa le ndoda? What the hell is this man doing?" I will be most surprised if you say you do. The angry reaction is, "Wenza ntoni kodwa lo mntu? What the hell is this person doing?" A stark difference. The woman is a woman, and the man is a person. To my mind, this is symptomatic of inarticulate prejudice against women and misogyny. And you never know if in future it will not graduate to physical violation of women. For a start, do not be content with the fact that you have never hit a woman or physically violated her in any other manner. It will be good to start with acknowledging that this is a problem. You must next work on it. You must aim to and eventually eradicate it from your makeup. Moving on to all of us, we each have an obligation to do something. Those who commit acts of violence against women and children look like you and me. They do not have it emblazoned across their foreheads, that they are of this character. They are rarely ever strangers to the women on whom they unleash this dastardly conduct. They are someone's husband, partner, father, brother, uncle, cousin, or acquaintance. They live among us. We interact with them on a daily basis like the ordinary human beings they appear to be. In the case of Chabalala, Khampepe J says, the notion that rape is committed by sexually deviant monsters with no self-control is misplaced. Law databases are replete with cases that contradict this notion. Often, those who rape, and I would add, those who physically violate women in a variety of ways, are fathers, brothers, uncles, husbands, lovers, mentors, bosses, and colleagues. We commune with them. We share stories and coffee with them. We jog with them. We work with them. They are ordinary people who lead normal lives, end quote. We interact with them well aware of what they do to their innocent women partners. Well aware because in the dead of night every day, we hear the bone-chilling screams of our neighbor's wife or partner. And most mornings, we see her with what is colloquially known as a blue eye, which she unsuccessfully tries to hide with sunglasses and makeup. We do nothing because we do not want to be involved. We do not want to be entangled in business that is not our own. Of course, we must interfere. At the very least, we must interfere by reporting. And this is practical. There is a site, gbv.org.za, and a number that may be called at any hour of the day, 0800-428-428, where we can report. The cries of Miss Precious Ramabulana impel us to. The last breath of fear-stricken Miss Zolile Kumalo staring at the muzzle of a gun propels us so. The thought of an excited Tsekhofats Opule expecting to meet her boyfriend only to meet her death enjoins each one of us to act. The courageous but hopeless fight for dear life by Miss Uyinene Mkhwetyana exhorts us too. The silent cries of the many who remain faceless and invisible to us, but whom we know are there, require of us too. That may be the only thing some of us will ever be able to do to extricate a woman or child from a life of unending brutality. Indeed, in some instances, it may be the only thing some of us will ever be able to do to save the life of that suffering woman or child. If that be so, why not do it? There is no excuse if all you content yourself with is that it is none of your business or that you do not want to interfere. You are complicit in the violation of innocent women and children. And those who can do more than report, by all means, they must do so. I do not claim to have bright ideas on what more can and should be done, but let us each do whatever is within our power to contribute towards curbing this scourge. And may ours be a lifelong aversion to and rejection of this abhorrent scourge. I thank you all.